to Once.Upon.a.Hot.Take. I'm your solo host today, Leah. Normally, we cover your favorite books with our hot takes, but this episode, we have something super special for you. I got the chance to talk to 5 different indie authors from across the nation. Literally, they were from all over the place about their books, about their writing process, their hot takes and tips for writing and publishing. And one thing that they all absolutely held in common, a hate for editing, which I can relate to because editing sucks, right? Who's got time for that? I already did the thing and now you're telling me I have to go back and fix it? Please. So we hope you enjoy our conversations and find maybe a new author that you want to connect with. I know I already got a bunch of new books to add to my TBR after getting to chat with these authors. So please see the show notes for the ways to contact each of the individual authors and more about their books. And without further ado, enjoy.
Welcome. Why don't we start with you just introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about you, where you're from, what you do, all that good stuff.
Yeah, my name's Nikai. I'm an author writer. I live in Los Angeles. I've worked in like entertainment for most of my adult life. I've been on the talent side of things. I'm now on the legal side of things. Yeah, I love fantasy sci-fi, and that's why I write.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so how warm is it over by you right now?
It's actually it's a little hot this week, but next week is supposed to cool off, which I'm looking forward to.
Okay, well, like, what is hot for you? Because we're over here in the Midwest, so I'm curious what.
Anything above 80 is hot. I think it's in the 70s right now.
That's about how we are too, and we are eating it up because it's been like 50s here for a while. So we're
Is it humid over there?
It can be. Today is not. So
okay. That's good. I feel like that's the worst when it's humid and hot. That's
then you're just absolutely dying. Okay, so you told us a little bit about the genres you typically write in. How many books do you have right now?
I have 3 books. I have 2 are part of the same series. It's a young adult fantasy series called the Sarana series, and then I have a standalone To Kill the Chosen One.
That's awesome. So which was your debut novel?
The first Sarana book, which is Spirits of Sarana. That was my first one. And then I kind of like hopping back and forth. So then I was To Kill the Chosen One, then back to Sarana one. This one, the third Sarana book is coming out, so I didn't do a different one. But I usually like to kind of hop back and forth.
Oh, that's nice. Do you like just to keep it fresh and mix it up? Because sometimes I feel like if I like read too many fantasy, then I'm like, okay, I got to get out of here for a little bit.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think it's good. I don't want to like ever grow stale of the world that I'm creating. I always want to make sure that the story is driving it, that the inspiration's driving it. And so having a little just break time to do something else and then come back is usually just so refreshing to be like, oh, right, this is why I love this world. And then it just gets the creative juices flowing.
I can totally see that. Okay, so tell me about your most recently published book.
Yeah, so that's the second Sarana book. The Sarana series is Harry Potter meets Avatar: Last Airbender. It's young adult fantasy. If you were a kid or young adult growing up reading the Percy Jackson or watching Avatar: Last Airbender, the Sarana series is to invoke that wonder. It's an adventure series, but also deals with like real hard-hitting themes that, all kids to adults can really relate to. The first book follows Jai, who is this kid who grows up in this wasteland, and he ends up losing someone really close to him. And then he finds his paradise, and then he kind of has to live in this paradise, but he's also going through grief and doesn't really know how to open himself up. So the first book is kind of exploring that while he's trying to search for his mom and find answers about who he is.
I love that. I think young adult fantasy is so good. I love reading it as an adult too. Like it's just such a good genre to be in.
Yeah, I know. It's like it sometimes feels reductive to say young adult because I'm like, I think it's good for all ages.
Yes, for sure. How I classify that is like it's not just for young adult, but it is appropriate for young adult because, you have some fantasy that is not, teens should not be diving into that.
Yes, correct. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Yeah, and I think young adult has definitely, the term has changed because I know there's like a new category called new adult.
Yes.
And like sometimes I think of books like Fourth Wing, I might classify as more new adult just because there's more adult themes, there's more adult scenes in there. Whereas I think young adult, to me, has always been the wonder kind of books, the Harry Potter-ness of like, you're exploring this fantastical world with fantastical settings and adults can kind of pick out the nuances of it, but it's still very much enjoyable for kids too.
Absolutely. Yes. I feel like there needs to be some more PSA out there, like young adult does not just mean kids. Grown-ups can read it too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Is that a complete series then, or you've got more kind of in the works for that?
The third one comes out this summer, and then there will be 2 more books. But each book kind of, just like Harry Potter, kind of grows with the characters. The stakes get higher and higher with each book, and the conflict and the villains get bigger and bigger. But each book is also very much its own thing. So I really, even though it's part of a series, I really wanted to make sure that the thing that sets up in the book finishes at the end of the book. And of course, there are little hints and teases here and there for the rest, but I really want to make sure that people, when they read it, feel complete after doing so.
So appreciate that, and I love that. Cliffhangers are fine, but it's good. It's good to have that current book at least wrapped up, where you're not just left with these big gaping holes.
Yeah.
So, I so appreciate that.
But then my other book, To Kill the Chosen One, is a standalone book. So it's one and done. And that just follows like the villain of the story trying to kill the hero of the story. But the hero is also morally gray. So it's like you just don't have any people to actually root for. It's very fun revenge thriller.
Ooh, okay, that's exciting. I bet that feels good to, if you're in a series and writing it, that must seem, I'm projecting here, but that seems to me like it might be a little overwhelming to keep all of that straight. So I feel like a standalone is a nice little, just like, whoo, okay.
Yeah, it's a nice one and done. And it's also, I've met people at book fairs that really just kind of are looking for standalones because the series can be a little bit daunting. So having a standalone, just feel like, oh, this is great. I just have to read this one thing and I'm getting everything out of it, is really appealing to some people.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I bet that feels good. Okay, so what are you working on something right now, or are you just kind of taking a little break from everything?
Yeah, I'm working on my edits for my an epic fantasy that's coming out in the fall. That's called Five of a Kind. Super excited about that one. That one is just about these 5 unique individuals trying to stop a genocide and break a curse. And so it's really fun, very timely, and kind of a little different from what I've done so far.
That's awesome. So we talked a little bit about the genres that you typically like to write in. Now I'm curious, what are some genres you prefer to read?
I am mostly fantasy sci-fi still, just because I love disappearing into those worlds. But every time that I pick up a non-fantasy or non-sci-fi book, I'm always reminded that I think I just really love reading, because the engaging story is an engaging story no matter what. And so if someone is able to draw me in and tie me to the whole book, it's like the setting doesn't matter. I love Trevor Noah's book Form Crime. That one was just excellent, and like something that I don't usually read. I don't really read memoirs or anything like that, but it was just so well told, so well done, that it was just impossible not to be engaged.
I know, that one is just phenomenal. I adore it. Tell me a little bit about your evolution as a reader. As a kid, were you just always reading, or is it something that you sort of came to a little bit later in life? Where did your love for reading kind of begin?
Yeah, I definitely started as a huge avid reader, reading like short stories to begin with, and then starting to get into novels. Harry Potter was kind of my introduction to novel reading. And then I kind of stopped in middle school. I think just burning out of reading like school books, maybe not really love to read because I was having to analyze it and then write about it. And I just was like, oh, I didn't feel so engaged. And then it wasn't until I was an adult that I started rereading again and realizing, oh no, I do love this. I just didn't love it as homework. And I think the association of having it be with homework kind of ruined it for me for a stretch of time.
I feel that. I am a high school English teacher by trade. So hearing
nice.
You say that reaffirms we need to make reading fun again and engaging and not such a slog and such a, I have to do it. So yeah, that's a big part of what I try to do in my classroom.
Yeah, well, no, and that's the good thing. And I hope kids, especially now with technology being so prevalent, hoping that kids more and more will turn to reading to be like, no, this is enjoyable and away from screens and stuff, just to disappear into a book.
Yep, exactly. And we got some YA fantasy now that you're putting out into the world. So we're working together on this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit about your writing process, because as someone who is like just a straight up reader, I have no knowledge of what this looks like, and I know it's different for everybody, but talk a little bit about your writing process. How does one create a novel?
Yeah, I mean, it's really tough. So I think everyone thinks of it as this huge daunting task that can't be completed, and I'm like, no, it's It's much easier than everyone thinks it is. I think my background's in screenwriting. And so I was writing screenplays and I was like, oh, I can't write a book. That's impossible. But then it was just doing one chapter at a time. And then it was like, oh, this is doable. This is actually okay. And of course you have to rewrite multiple times and you have to outline and all that good stuff. But I think it's not as bad as everyone's making out to be, of like, oh my God, you can't write a book. People say that there are some people who just outline a book completely and will leave no leeway to deviating from that outline. And then there's some people who are discovery writers who are just writing kind of free form, just like, hey, I'm just going to write as I go and as I think and as I feel. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle where I outline the story as much as possible. I try to, but then when I'm writing, I also want to make sure that I'm leaving room to discover things as I write, to be like, oh, now that I'm actually in this scene with these characters and the dialogue is real, maybe there's some little tweaking here. And does this still work with the rest of the outline? And or does this make this point even more poignant to like say in the scene rather than the scene that's coming up in 3 chapters? So I think for me, that's important to have that kind of like balance.
I appreciate that. And I think I like how you said too, it's just, if you just one chapter at a time, like anybody can write one chapter. And if you kind of hold yourself to that, I think that's a better mindset. Cause me, if I tried to sit down and write a book, I'd go, nope, like too many. That's so much. But I like that. Yeah. Just like, no, just focus on one chapter. You got that. No worries.
I do think readers like yourself are the best kinds of writers because you guys read so much that you guys know how books work even more than most. So I think that would just influence how you write and be able to be like, no, I can do this. So I think you should at some point. It'd be fun.
Oh, okay.
See what you
well,
cook up.
since you said. Do you have a favorite writing location, or where are you actually crafting your books?
Kind of anywhere. I went to New Zealand for a little while and I wrote there. That was wonderful.
Wow.
I write at coffee shops, but most of the time I write from home, just a safe space of where I am without any kind of external distractions to not worry about. So yeah, usually write at home.
That's nice. Are you someone who every day you're like, I got to carve out an hour from 3 to 4. I'm doing my writing. Do you have yourself a word count, or are you more just like let it happen when it happens?
I wish I was that. There's some people who wake up at 4 a.m. and just start writing, and I'm like, I would love that. No, because I think one of the hardest parts is to actually begin writing. Once I'm in writing, it becomes easier to keep it going. But the actual start time, even if I'm in the middle of a book and know exactly what I'm doing, it's still the actual beginning. So for me, schedule-wise, I wake up, I go to work, I'm spending the whole day at work, and then I come home, decompress for a second, go to the gym, come home, make dinner, shower, and then start writing at like 10. And then I just don't sleep.
Oh, you're a night owl. Just don't sleep.
So yeah, it's definitely hard, and especially with a full-time job to keep that. But at the end of the day, it's worth it. And I'm always really happy with the fact that I'm still doing this.
Yeah, I love that people have that passion and that drive and that discipline to do that, because that is it's so just awesome to have all of these cool books out there in the world. Give me a rough estimate of how long it takes you to write one book.
My last book, which was my longest, or like the one that's coming out this fall, it's a little over 200,000 words, so it's pretty long. But that one took me from September to March. So
that's
fast. Yeah, that one was only because I dedicated like days and days to writing. And when I was in New Zealand, I was going every time that I wasn't going on an adventure, coming back and immediately starting to write. That's the first draft. And I think that's the hardest part, is doing the first draft, getting on paper, editing. You can kind of work that in a little bit easier as you're doing other things.
Right. But you got to get something out there, because you can't edit nothing. So
Exactly. Actually getting the words on the paper, even if they're really bad, at least they're on there.
That's what I tell my students. You just got to get a vomit draft out there. We can work with what you have, but if you got nothing, I can't help you.
Yeah, because then you also find the kernels that are really good, and you're like, oh, there's this scene, even in this one chapter that's otherwise not great. This scene is really good, and you can work around that scene and build it up even more.
Absolutely. So when you were in New Zealand, were you drawing from any of your experiences that you were there?
Yes, I mean, I went to so many different places in New Zealand, and it was so fun. And so, yeah, I was able to kind of draw on just different imagery and descriptions of being like, ooh, I really like this setting a lot that I was in. And now I get to actually write it. I did like the glowworm caves. And those were so beautiful, incredible. And then it ended up later, ended up writing a scene, like scenes in a cave, and I was able to describe just different ways that I pictured it from New Zealand. I was like, oh, this is how this cave and this cavern worked. So it was very fun.
That sounds so cool. How long was that flight though?
It's only 12 hours, which is not bad. And I will say, not to plug Air New Zealand on this, but they gave a great dinner and breakfast for a flight. So I was actually very happy.
You're like, this is fine. Okay, nice.
Yeah. Especially for airplane food, it was pretty decent.
That's all you can ask for, man. Oh my.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what made you decide to self-publish over the traditional publishing process?
So I used to be a talent agent. And so being a talent agent, very similar to being a lit agent, you know how hard it is to query. And there's obviously those success stories that come out that say, no, they were able to query or 30 times and they finally got one. And I really implore anyone who's out there who really wants that route to try and keep at it. I just knew that it was going to be really tough. And so talking to lit agents and traditionally published authors, lit agents were always saying, well, we usually don't take anyone who hasn't kind of already proven themselves. And then
that's like a catch-22 there. How does that work?
Yep, exactly. I know. And it's like saying, well, we want 10 years of experience and then but it's an entry-level job. And I was talking to traditionally published authors, and they were saying, other than like the ones who just really hit it out of the gate, like Rebecca Yarrow's Fourth Wing, if you're not to that level, you're still going to have to market your own books.
Mm-hmm.
You won't also have creative control and whatnot. So I was like, well, to me, let me self-publish so I have creative control. Let me prove myself. Let me prove that these books have worth, that they connect with people. And then if a traditional publisher comes along and really likes it, then we can talk and go from there. But at the same time, I like being able to kind of choose what I want to do with my stories because they are expressions of me. They are for people to connect with them. And that's why I don't go through a bunch of different editors to take away the things that are me specific, because then the story doesn't have any value to me.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you put your heart and soul into this. Yeah, that would be really hard, I think, as a control freak, having to give that power over to someone else. Yeah. So I relate.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's hard. I mean, I think I won't speak for every author out there, but I think most authors are not writing to make money. They're not writing for fame. I think they're writing to connect with people because storytelling is a way of expressing ourselves. And then we get to be able to connect with other people who feel the same way. And that's how we are able to converse and communicate. And so I think being able to give that up is really hard but that's part of me that I'm giving up.
That is so beautiful and well said. I can tell you're a writer. That was lovely.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
So give us your hot take now on either the writing and or the publishing process.
One of my hot takes is that I don't think authors should be as hard on themselves as they are. And I think at least most of the authors that I meet and including myself on this, is that we're really tough on ourselves because we're not marketers, we're not project coordinators, we're not accountants, but oftentimes we kind of have to be for all these different things. And then we have to go on social media and kind of brag about it, but we don't like bragging about it because that's not the point where what we're trying to do. Right. And I'm going to steal this from a marketing consultant that I talked to, is that she said, look at it as you're giving value to it and trying to be like, no, this is good for other people as well, instead of trying to look at it as you're bragging about it. So I just don't think authors should be as hard on themselves as they are, including myself. And that's something that I am also working on.
That's a mindset shift. You're not bragging about you. You're bragging about the piece of the thing that you've created, because you never know. That could be exactly what someone needs to hear or read in that exact moment that they're going through in their life. Exactly. So really, you're being selfish if you're not talking about it.
Exactly. That's a good way of putting it.
We talked a little bit about some of your favorite books, Harry Potter, but do you have any others that stand out as iconic reads that you will love forever?
I mean, I actually listened to this episode of your podcast. I like Six of Crows a lot.
Yes, me too. Jordan didn't love it as much as me. I'm still mad at her about that.
I was surprised. I was like, oh, like, I mean, did I miss something? It made me rethink things when I was listening to Jordan talk about it. I really like Six of Crows. I think because like you, I didn't love The Shadow and Bone. I actually read that before I read Six of Crows, and I was like, oof, okay. It wasn't terrible. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it either. I was like, this is fine. But then I was reading, everyone was talking about Six of Crows being so good, and then I read it, and I was like, oh no, this book does live up to its hype.
Yes.
Yeah. And the characters are just so dynamic and interesting. And I agree with you that sometimes Matthias and Nina can be a little bit like, but they still have distinct personalities that work well with the group dynamics that I really enjoy.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that. I'm going to rub that in Jordan's faces then.
Please do. Please do.
Okay. So who needs to read your books?
It's young adult fantasy. So like middle school, high school, absolutely. But as we talked about, I would love adults to read it because if you're looking for a sense of wonder and nostalgia from growing up from the, Percy Jackson, Harry Potter days, these books definitely emulate those. Anyone who likes fantasy, adventure, and then for Kill the Chosen One, it's anyone who really wants something dark and gritty and kind of throwing archetypes on their heads and doing something fun with it.
Awesome. Tell us, where can people connect with you? Where can they find you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and TikTok. TikTok is Nikai Books, and my Instagram is Nikai J. And then my website, you subscribe to my newsletter, is nikaibooks.com. You can connect with me on any of those. I'm not the most social media savvy, but I'm trying to be.
It's so hard, man. It's so hard to keep up with all of it. Ugh.
I know. Yeah, I know. I feel like an old man sometimes.
Same.
But any of those sites, and then I would love to respond and engage with people there.
Yay, that's awesome. Is there anything else you want to share?
So happy to be here. Thank you for your podcast. This is so amazing that you guys create this opportunity for not just me, but other authors as well. I know this is how we do things. This is how we get our word out. So I just thank you guys for championing us.
Absolutely. Yeah, we are super excited. I mean, this idea just kind of popped up and it sort of like took off. So you are lovely. I'm so excited for our listeners to get to hear about your books and hopefully pick them up and connect with you and discover a little bit more of that wonder that's in this world.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Leah. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will, I'm sure, talk again in the future. So thank you so much for giving us your time and for giving us your hot takes on the writing process.
Sounds good. Thanks so much, Leah. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Why don't we start with you introducing yourself to us and just telling us where you're from?
Okay, so I'm Tory Steele. Originally, I'm from Texas, but after I got out of the military where I met my husband, we kind of like threw a dart on the map and we're like, well, where do we go now that we're done? So we ended in Colorado, and we've been in Colorado ever since. So it's been about like 8 years.
Amazing.
I'm not moving anywhere else. I love the mountains. I love the winters. You can't get me out of Colorado now.
Oh my gosh, that's beautiful. Okay, so Texas to Colorado, weather, I would guess, is a big change.
Yes. And I think like one thing I missed the most that I didn't really realize was the ocean. Because I was about 2.5 hours away from it, and now I'm landlocked. So not having good seafood really hurts my feelings.
Oh, yeah, I bet. And how's the lake situation in Colorado? Do they have a lot of them?
There's some of them, but in our area where there's this green algae that's very toxic to dogs. So it's like, I'm not going to go to the lake. That's going to hurt my dog.
Oh,
so I just avoid the water now.
That's probably fair. And yeah, lake is not ocean, so.
Exactly. It's in the ocean. It's far less scarier. Like you're like, there's a whole bunch of stuff. We're totally fine.
Exactly. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, let us dive in right away. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you write?
Okay, so I'm a romance author at heart, right? But I realized today, because I was looking through the review questions, and I was like, my goodness, I think I'm actually a fantasy romance author.
Okay. So we had some like self-actualization happening here.
Yes. I was like, wait a minute. I thought I don't know what I was thinking my other trope was, but I was thinking it was fantasy. And then I was getting some clarification and I was like, Well, I guess all of my books are fantasy, so I guess I'm a fantasy romance author.
Oh, see, okay, there's been some self-realization on the podcast too. Myself, I was like, I don't like sci-fi, but every time I read a sci-fi book, I really love it. So I guess I do like sci-fi. So, and you are, just coming into your own author style.
That's so funny. I saw that one too that you were talking about, and I was just like, that's how I feel too, because I'm like, I don't really like sci-fi, and then I'm like, but I do like zombies and stuff and things like that. And I'm like, is that sci-fi or is that more fantasy?
I don't know. Yeah.
Yes, but I'm actually stepping away just for a second from the fantasy romance genre, and I'm writing a psychological horror at the moment.
Whoa. Okay.
Yes.
So tell me what's different about that writing process, or is it the same as writing a fantasy?
No, it is actually very, very different, and the parts of me that have been activated writing this one has really done something to my brain. I'm not honestly quite sure, but it has it's pulled me out. One thing that I realize is, romance and horror, they both kind of evict the same emotions, right? Gets your heart beating. Just one's very different. The way they get your heart beating are very different. So I had COVID a few months ago, and it was giving me some really effed up nightmares.
Oh no! They didn't tell you that was symptoms now. Gosh!
Exactly. So I had this one nightmare, and I woke up, and I felt like this dread over me. Like I had just witnessed myself die in another universe kind of feeling. So I looked at my husband and I was like, I think I just died. And I was like,
no.
I gotta write that down. And I literally grabbed my phone and I started writing down the whole, what happened in my dream, the plot twist, all of that. And then I was like, this is going to be my next novel. So that is my next novel.
So cool. That's I mean, not cool that you had a nightmare that was terrifying like that, but cool that you're harnessing it and just taking it and making it. Oh, I love that. Wow.
Yes.
So, okay, is that the one you're working on that right now?
Yes, I am. And the way I tell people when I'm talking about it, because it's I really don't want to give away the spoilers, but if you've ever seen the movie Groundhog Day and if you've ever seen Final Destination, I've basically combined the two.
Ooh. Oh, man. Wow.
Yeah. Thank you, COVID. But also, that was some horrifying nights.
Screw you. Yeah. That is wild. Wow. Okay. Talk about just capitalizing upon a situation, just falling in your lap there. Oh man.
Literally. So I was like, this has got to be the one.
Gotta be. Holy cow. Wow.
And it's funny. I have two dreams as an author, or to know that I've made it as an author.
Yeah.
One of them is that the story becomes so good it becomes a movie, right?
Yes.
And then the second one, it sounds so silly, but it's it's that it starts a cult. You know what I mean? It's one of those
you get a cult following. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I can help you with dream number one because the author that I just interviewed was a screenplay writer and he lives in LA. So we're going to connect you two.
See? Yeah. And then I had an epiphany the other day and I was just like, oh my gosh, this book is about to check off both those boxes because I've been writing it in a way that seems cinematic, so as you're reading it, it kind of feels like you're watching it from the character's point of view. So sorry, guys, you're about to enter my nightmares, and they're terrible.
Oh, literally.
Yeah,
oh my goodness. So, that is phenomenal. I don't think I've ever read a book that has been inspired by someone's nightmares. So I can't wait to dive into that.
Well, and horror is not my genre. I am the biggest baby you'll find when it comes to it.
Same. I can't even watch the scary movie previews on TV. I gotta go,
the closest I get to scary movies are literally the Scary Movie 1, 2, 3, and 4. And to me, that's
spooks,
enough. Yeah. I don't need to go any further.
Yes, I can handle reading scary stuff. I just try not to do it at night. It's been a while since I've read a dark, twisty, creepy thriller.
Yes, I will tell you, this is one of those stories you wouldn't want to read at night. No.
Okay, I'm excited though.
With that feeling of oh my God, am I gonna actually wake up tomorrow or
oh no,
it's gonna all be some sort of we'll see. So.
Oh my goodness. Do you have an anticipated publishing date yet, or you're just writing right now?
Actually, it's gonna be coming out on October 31st, and we already have a signing.
Well, that's perfect.
Yeah, and we already have a signing set up at the Barnes and Nobles in Westminster, Colorado. So we've got a whole a whole thing ready.
Wow. Oh, that is gonna be neat. That
Yes.
is gonna be. Are you gonna like dress in character? Like, wait, as yourself? Oh,
It's like you gotta read it. I can't give it away because if I talk
Ooh,
too much,
okay.
you're just.
All right.
But it's definitely gonna be one of those where you're questioning which reality you're left in. So don't read it before bedtime because you'll definitely
Okay,
like.
yeah, all right. That is a daylight book only. Noted. So tell us about some of your other works that you have.
So, like I said, primarily I'm a romantasy author. I have my first book, which is The Enchanted Luna. She's also my longest book, primarily because she was my first one, so I didn't know what I was doing. So I was like, this is going to be great. I'm just going to put it all in one. So it ended up being about 600 pages. So she's nice and thick.
Oh, that's a big girl.
Yeah. And she is, so if you know like A Court of Roses and Thorns and Fourth Wing, similar vibe, except it's old school werewolves and witches. It's also standalone, which is why she's so nice and thick. So you don't have to worry about getting a whole series. This is it.
That is kind of nice too, you know, because then you're like, oh, when's the next one? When's the next one? Like, nope, you got it all. It's right there.
Yeah, and then that's the whole story. And then I kind of wrapped it up to a point where it carries on in its own way. Like the story's still going. It didn't say the end, but you know, we can't keep an eye on the characters the whole time either. That's creepy.
How long did that one take you to write?
In total, it took me about 6 months to write. Now, it took about 2 years before it was fully ready and readable. First one, I was just going on heart and feeling, so the editing on it was so horrible. Yeah, and what's worse is that I kind of got published originally through Dream, which is one of those like ebook reading apps where all they have is romance fantasy types books.
Sure.
So they don't really edit your work, so anything can go up there. So at first, all of my work was going up there unedited, and people were reading it. And at one point, I had gotten a comment that said, I understand some people don't speak English or English isn't their first language, but sometimes you might still need to go through an editor. And at that point, I was like, ooh. Yeah, I guess it's time to finally go back and edit those. And even if you go on my Goodreads, The Enchanted Luna, it's been out for 5 years in ebook form, and the first ones were really bad. And honestly, as I was going back and I was editing the full book and I read it all, I just would like to thank those first people who read it, because you guys are some real ones. I honestly would have stopped and was like, this is horrible. I cannot understand what she's trying to say, because there was parts when I was editing and I was like,
Wait, what?
I don't know. So those people who read it all the way the first way through, thank you so much.
But that's still so incredible. That's why I just have so much appreciation for indie authors. You have to do so much. You have to write the book, and then you have to reread the book. Then you have to edit the book. Then you got to figure out how to publish the book. Then you got to get other people to read the. Oh my gosh, it's just it seems never ending. How do you not let all of that just weigh you down and prevent you from even starting?
I love it. I mean, not necessarily that part of it. That part really takes the fun out of it, but I just love writing. I just love telling stories so much that it's kind of like this need to go through it. Like I hate sitting down. I hate editing with a passion and feeling, and you don't understand what I mean when I say I hate editing. But I know it needs to get done so that people can read and see these stories, because sometimes I'll write one and I'm just like, oh, everybody needs to read this, and in order for everybody to read it, they need to understand it, and that
They
part
have to be able to read it. Yep.
I'm like, oh, you can't just get it from what I'm saying, like, you know,
Right?
or just the Clip Notes version, like Spark Notes in a sense.
That's so great. Yeah, it just goes to show you like different people like and are good at different things. Like I would edit all day long. I love the grammar. I love the structure. I love all that. But like actually creating something, taking it from my brain and putting it, I could never. So respect for you.
That part's the easy part. To me, I'm like that I can do night, day, in my sleep, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, when
literally, yes.
Exactly. When it comes to like the grammatical stuff, when it comes to the editing, I'm like, I swear I went to school. I know what a comma is. I know how quotations work, but do you put a comma after the ellipses? Do you space between? I'm so confused.
Well, everybody's got their go-tos. So let's go to a little bit about you as a reader. What are some of the genres that you typically go to read?
So I'm a romance girly, like, all the way. I did just read Project Hail Mary and The Martian. So yes, and that is just some excellent writing there too. And I was really feeling for Rocky in the books, and like seeing it on screen was one of those things where I was like, oh, I understand. Like, yes.
I know.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that was so good. Okay, I have not read The Martian. How would you say that stacks up to Project Hail Mary?
The only reason I prefer Project Hail Mary to The Martian, because I really do like The Martian as well, is in The Martian, he started getting really, really technical with like math and the engineer. And if you're into that, go for it. But there was definitely, I felt there was at one point 7 pages scrapped together of the mathematics of something. And I was just kind of like, yep. Let me just I don't like numbers on a daily basis. I don't want to read numbers.
I don't need them in my distraction from Okay,
exactly.
fair.
Yeah. So I even have this rule in my house because my husband's a real math nerd, and like I'm not, so I'm always like, please, no math on my birthdays, no math on the holidays. The other day we were having a party, and I kid you not, my friends got into this math argument of trying to figure out the statistics of something, and I was like, can you not?
Just who cares? Yeah.
It's my party. Can we not do math?
Please.
Yes, I'm a writer for a reason. Let's just say that.
No numbers over here. Tell me a little bit about your writing process. Are you someone who is like, I sit down at this time, or I have this special spot, or are you like, oh, whenever I have a spare 5 minutes, I'm just gonna do some stuff?
So sort of thankfully, when I was in the military, I got severely injured. So it permanently disabled me, and I've got about 20% function in my right arm, and I'm also right hand dominated. So,
oh boy.
Yeah, if you needed me to like raise my right hand at the court law, I literally couldn't. And I'm also a full-time writer, so it's awesome. It's great. So because of that, it allows me to kind of like work freely whenever I want. The only problem, or my biggest problem really, is that the injury caused severe nerve damage and limited function. So I could write for about sometimes I can write for about 15 minutes, no problem. And then there's other times where I'll literally be writing and my hand will kind of like freeze up and will like curl onto the keyboard. And it's kind of like, well, no more writing.
Not doing that, no.
Yeah. So it's really this kind of balance. So I try to write as much as I can, and sometimes I'll just power through it, and I'll literally like have my arm hanging down while I'm typing with my left hand.
Oh my gosh. My gosh.
I'm telling you a story. I'm gonna get that story to you.
You are dedicated to the craft. I love that. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, how much do I love writing? I'm crying literally as I'm typing sometimes.
I am in pain to get you this story. Wow.
Yes.
The dedication. So, I love it.
I even right now I'm like wrapped up in carpal tunnel. Like I'm done. Yeah, but I'm still there typing and editing because this psychological horror is coming out soon.
You the real MVP. Wow, got to get that out. So do you have a special space where you write? Are you like go out into the town and experience the world and write, or are you like shut the door, everybody leave me alone person?
So I actually brought you into my writing space today.
I was admiring your background. Wow.
If you see, these are my books. I have my own books in my library, so that way I can stare at them. And
that a girl. Yep, self-promotion, motivation. Oh yeah,
exactly. But I only have the ones that I got sprayed edge because I think those are really cool.
I just every time I see a sprayed edge, I'm like, I need it. I must have it. Oh, so
yeah.
Yes.
Well, follow my profile because I always give out some sprayed edges with each new book release. So.
Exactly. I'm gonna be stalking you now. You watch out.
So, and then in the back here, you can see I have my storyboard, which is literally the plot line where it says, here's your background, climax, rising action. So,
yes.
And then I have sticky notes for different stories that I'm working on. So I'm color coordinated in my sticky notes.
Oh my gosh, you are got to get them all in the spots where you need. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
And then amazing. I've got like my fan going. This light is not always on. It's a lot darker and chiller in here. I will turn on my music. I will sometimes have like a nice Dr. Pepper with some sour candy, and I'm just I'm sitting and I'm writing.
I remember in college, there were a few papers where I was like, all right, type the paragraph, you can have a bite of cookie. Type the paragraph, go eat the cookie. Like, needed that little bit of reward there to get it.
It's like I need that reward feedback when I'm editing, so I feel good about it.
There you go.
But it never works.
Like, see, this is okay. Yep, you're trying to, what is it? The Pavlov dog yourself.
Exactly,
I don't remember.
right?
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Like, I'm going to train myself at one point. I don't know how long it takes. At least 2 years. Still trying, though.
Yep. So, all right. Hey, you're nothing if not dedicated, though.
Exactly.
All right. So talk to us a little bit about the self-publishing process. What made you go that route?
So I've done actually a little bit of all three, both self-publishing, traditional publishing, and then even hybrid publishing. With Dream, they are a publisher, but they're actually an international publisher. So technically, I'm an international author if you think about it. And if you want to get into the details, like that's, so that's kind of crazy. And the only thing is they only do ebooks and audiobooks. They only do prints when your book has made over $1 million. And I'm still like a quarter of the way there before I hit that. So, but I had met some other parameters where they're like, well, you can go ahead and self-publish this version of your book. So that's the Enchanted Luna.
Okay.
So that's kind of hybrid, but it's mainly traditional. And then with Breaking Tradition, I started off with a traditional publisher. They were an indie press, and there was just some minor complications and little things. And after a while, I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm gonna just take this book and self-publish it myself. And I ended up doing that. And I've fallen in love with self-publishing.
Oh.
Yes. I feel like it's a really dirty word when people talk about it because they're always like, it needs to be traditional. It needs to be traditional.
Yes.
And I know that because I feel that way, or I felt that way too, where it was kind of like I need that validation of a publisher to say, hey, this is good, right? But then what you never realize is that sometimes you can get into a publishing house where it's kind of like, whoa, maybe this publisher is not that good. So, and that's kind of how it worked with this last one. So I ended up pulling my book out and I was going through all of the inner workings of what it is to publish. And I realized that all the publisher is really offering you is connections. And unless you're doing a big 5 or a local publisher, you have better odds striking big self-publishing.
Sure. Doing it on your own.
Yeah. And
it's some good insight.
Yeah, and I'm very old school too. So not only was I military boots on the ground, but I'm just in general boots on the ground kind of a person where it's kind of like I'm out there doing events, signings, showings, and I'm the equivalent of like a singer going out on the street selling their CDs. I'm like one step away from that with my books. I'm like, here, you want to come to my trunk and buy one of my books?
I got some books in my coat here.
Exactly, right? Just start doing that. I probably get more buys from men. We'll see.
Yeah.
So I kind of do that, and I feel like that's actually brought me more opportunities than an actual publisher would have, aside from Big 5. You know, obviously, if you're going to Big 5, you're like winning a lottery ticket.
Oh, yeah.
But those are so few and far between. And another thing that a lot of people don't realize with those Big 5s is you need an agent to even get into the door. And in order to get an agent, it's kind of like one of those things where you're trying to go get a job and they're like, you need experience. And you're like, well, I'm trying to get the experience.
We just talked about this. Yes. Yep. Like the catch-22. Like, how do you want me to prove that I've done this before if I have not done this before and you won't give me the opportunity to do this before? Yeah.
Exactly. And those are kind of what agents are. So it's kind of like you basically at some point need to self-publish or self-promote your stuff or have a good enough portfolio where they're willing to even take a chance. And nowadays you need to have like 50,000 followers on Instagram. And then another piece about it that you don't really think about because you're like, oh, I'm going to have an agent and I'm going to make so much money and blah, blah, blah. But when you're just starting, it's not a lot. That agent is taking, 25% of your royalties. That publisher you're going with is taking 25% of your royalties. Ingram Spark or the book distributor who's printing those books is taking a part of your royalties. By the time it gets to you, if you've got all those people, you've got like 10 cents to every dollar.
Right.
If you're lucky. If you're lucky, you know? So, and I found with self-publishing, the return is just a lot more. And you're not as limited to what you're doing with your books. You know, you can go out and sell them on the street corners, or you can go out and do these book events that a lot of sometimes publishers won't let you do because it doesn't fit an image or whatnot. So, and I feel like my hot take on everything is those publishers make it scary or make it sound bad to self-publish, when in reality, it's actually really beneficial to the authors. So, you know, and I'm at a point in my career too where I'm kind of like, if an agent or a big publisher, well, aside from the big 5 publisher, were to come to me, they would need to sell me on why I need to go to them.
You'd be like, you better show up. Let's see what you're bringing me. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, how are you benefiting me? And I'm not even, you know, someone who's making millions of dollars. I'm just, you know. Another thing, too, to think about is that portfolio. Not to bring Taylor Swift into the conversation, but she said it best. All of those songs that she was having, that catalog was going to go to somebody else's family. Now that it's under her name, she's getting all of that stuff. So all of my books get to stay my books for the rest of my life, my family's life.
Right.
Instead of staying with the publisher. So that was another thing I had thought about. So thank you, T Swift, for that information.
Yeah. That's a great hot take. That's a great perspective. Those are all good things to think about.
Yeah.
Let's talk about who needs to read your book.
So who needs to read my book? I'm going to say romantasy readers who just want one story or just want it all in one story, take a break from the series and just get a nice clip. People who appreciate strong female leads. And then for my horror novel, I will say people who just need something to shake it up. Just something that's completely different, something that's so off the wall, and something that's really going to make you question, like, is that return window sooner? Because you don't want this book in my house. It's haunted.
I got to get this.
Exactly. So that's why I said, oh my gosh, this is going to be one of those books that's people are going to be like, yeah, no. This is going to be like Paranormal Activity when it first started. And people are walking out of the theaters because they're like, yeah, that's like, too much.
Nope in that. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. Oh, wow.
I'm excited for it, but like I said, as I've been writing it too, I was like, I don't like these heebie-jeebies I've been living with for the last 2 months right now. So,
oh my goodness, wow.
Yeah.
And okay, tell us, where can listeners connect with you?
So you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm very active on my Instagram at Tory Steele _ and there you can also find what events I'm doing. I'm all around Northern Colorado. So I'll be in Westminster, or I'll be in Boulder, or I'll be in Loveland. And I especially love Loveland, of being a romance author. It's the best place to be in the world, honestly.
All right, I'm starting to catalog some of these places that Jordan and I are going to have to take some field trips to go to, and Colorado is sounding just delightful.
Hey, Colorado's also got, like, I feel like we're becoming one of the hot spots for romance bookstores.
Yeah, I've just seen some of that stuff. Yep, like popping up. Yes.
Spicy Librarian. There's another one that's coming out in Fort Collins. They're just... which is great for me. I love it. I'm like, keep coming.
You're like, okay.
Yes. They're crazy in Loveland for love. So I love it. We have a big festival on Valentine's Day every year. It's Hearts City, literally.
Oh, well, yeah, that makes sense. Oh. Yes. Okay, is there anything that we didn't get a chance to talk about that you want to talk about, or anything else you want to add?
I just want to say thank you for having me on here. I've always wanted to do a podcast, and then I was seeing yours and Jordan's, and I was like, okay, this seems more like up my speed. These ladies seem awesome. I love when you do the little bits with y'all's husbands. So, and I just feel so bad for yours. Like, you just keep throwing stuff at his face.
What was he doing? Oh my gosh. He just doubled down. He just was like, I'm just gonna dig my heels in here. I was like, okay. I don't know about that, but all right.
And then I'm just loving it because the kids are like, yes, let's throw yogurt on him, or let's throw the creamer, or no.
They had so much time. Yeah, and then my one was like, it's coffee. I was like, Guy, no.
I know. I was like, that's so cheating. So it's been awesome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, thank you. Yeah, and thank you for your work. Thank you for your service too. It's just, this is so cool. Jordan and I just kind of had this brainchild, and it's been really, really neat connecting with all of these indie authors and getting to talk and meet new people. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited for this horror thriller. Like,
yes.
that's gonna
Me
be cool.
too. You have no idea. It's like I said, it's something that I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing with this because I'm not a horror genre. But my God, is it like I showed it to my husband? He's my ARC reader, and he closed it when he was done and handed it back to me. And he was like, "What's wrong with you?
What have you created?"
Yeah, I was like, good times, good times. That's all it is. You'll be fine.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, thank you again so much. This has just been a lovely chat with you. I'm so excited though.
Wow.
Absolutely, yes. We've been vibing. I can't. Yeah, we'll have to get you on with Jordan too because she would adore
Yes.
this.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay, well, why don't we start with you telling us who you are and where you're from and what you do and some stuff about you.
All right. So I am James Voorhees, the author of the Ambassador Chronicles series. I currently live with my partner in Miami Beach, but originally I'm from New Jersey. I work as a physical therapist when I am not working as a writer. And getting into writing was something that started for me a little over 6 years ago with this series. And it's been so amazing. Such a really great journey that I've enjoyed so much. I've just discovered a whole world that I had no idea existed, but it's been very, very fun. And when I'm not writing or working on people, I definitely we live here in Miami Beach. I love running on the beach, which is why I'm probably a little sunburned here. And I love cooking and drinking wine while I'm cooking and conversation. Huge traveler. Travel is one of my biggest inspirations in writing, and it's a very fun way to incorporate my world into these fictional worlds.
Absolutely,
to really kind of embellish the fantasy. It's fun, and it's fun for me to see it that way and to look at those pictures, and that's kind of how it all started for me, actually.
That's awesome. So, okay, 6 years ago, is that when you first had the idea for your stories, or you had something else and then kind of pivoted?
So 6 years ago, I was working in a hospital here in Miami during COVID, and I was on the front line, and it was now I look back and I can say it was rough. At the time I didn't have time to worry about it. I had to get things done, so
you were
just had to
busy.
keep going. We were quite busy, and I was surrounded by a growing team of amazing people who deserve the title hero. So in that process, and we were just going and getting the job done and making sure everybody got everything they needed so that we can help these people get better and get out of the hospital and survive. So in that time, you stop thinking about yourself, and it's 3 a.m. and I'm waking up every morning and I'm like, wow, I'm wide awake, ready to go. And I may as well start drinking coffee and at the pictures of my travels and look at the clothes in my closet because I love fashion, and just kind of put the headphones on and listen to the music. And it was then in those very quiet moments that just images started coming to me, and listening to some songs. And it's funny because I've recently revisited like the 4 songs that started it for me. The first one struck a tender moment between 2 of the characters, Vampire and Monk, that occurs in the Dragon Constellation, which is book 1 in the trilogy. And it also is the background for the final battle scene. It's just so intense. And the final battle scene in the 3rd book. So it's really funny how
coming full
just,
circle.
Yeah. It just kind of put itself in there, and then listening to the music and allowing these images to just form and writing them down. It became something that it was an escape for me. And I started to appreciate it so much to the point that I was like, hey, you know what? This could turn into something. Like if it's this much of an escape for me, it might be an escape for everybody. And as I was going to work and seeing all these amazing people and just coming from all walks of life and working for this cause to sort of save everyone, I was like, anybody can be the hero. You have to just allow yourself. And I wanted to create characters that were diverse enough that anybody who could read this or wants to read this would be able to identify with someone at least and be like, that's me, that's who I want to be, or that's me, that's exactly who I am, that's my friends. And it just became really important to sort of put that idea out there of hey, let's all work together and make the world a better place. Stop the
we need
dragon.
that. So, okay, are you always a listening to music while you're writing person, or are you, I need silence?
No, I'm always listening to music. Yeah. And it evolves. And I think originally it was setting tone for what I was writing, but now it's more like, okay, I need to listen to this because this is what I have to finish writing. And based on the type of scene or the interaction that's happening or the action that's happening, that I want that kind of thought in my head, that sort of background. You know, some of the comments I've gotten that I'm very happy with is that it's very cinematic, the whole story. And
sure.
I definitely have a soundtrack going, and I have playlists on Spotify that I'll listen to that are character based or book based, and they definitely help keep me focused on where I need to be directing my energy.
Yeah, I bet that helps just keep the motivation going too, you know? I feel like if you're just sitting in a quiet, dead room, it's kind of like, okay, well, now what?
And I get it. Some people need that. They need to be able to focus and concentrate.
True.
You know, the other place where I really come up with a lot of ideas is when I'm running. And I don't know if it's the endorphins or the fact that it's just sunlight on the beach or something, but it's great. And I come back with so many great ideas. The problem is like the perfect dialogue, the perfect scene by the time I get home is just
it's gone.
made.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, damn it to hell.
Like, oh, you need to be taking your phone and voice texting while you're running down the beach.
And I say it all the time, but I'm like, I don't know.
And then they said, yeah, that'd probably be a little rough. That might mess with your pace a little bit.
Yeah, a little.
So are you now just like a run for joy type person, or are you training for anything? Do you do any races?
No, I you know, it's another escape for me. I don't do it. Every now and then a friend will be like, hey, let's do this race. And I'm like, sure, why not? But then at the end of it, I'm like, why the hell did I agree to this? Like, I'm not
There's a lot
here
of pressure in races, yeah.
I'm not here for that. But, you know, if somebody wants to, it's like something, why not? Give it a shot.
Yeah. See, I like a good 5K race. I can handle that. You can in and out, you're done, it's fast, you're good to go. Any half marathons? No, don't want to be down for that.
Okay, I'll remember that.
Okay, so are you mostly a fantasy writer, or are you branching out? What genre are you typically spending your time in?
So I have spent these 6+ years with these 3 books.
Look at them, all nicely placed there.
And then the last book in the series that will be due out in October. And it's been all about that. But the fun part about venturing into writing and publishing is, and opening up that sense of imagination within myself, is it has allowed me to start thinking of other things while I'm doing it. And I even had a conversation earlier. I was like, yeah, I have this great idea for a whole other series. And I'm like, but I'm purposely not thinking too much about it because I have to finish this last edit on this book, which has a deadline. So I'm like, let me get this out. So I do really enjoy the action fantasy worlds, the creativity, the world building. Like, it's limitless, and you know, you're allowed to create the rules to it. You just have to stick with them. Otherwise, it's like, this is a hack. So like magic systems and crazy immortal beings that, you know, we've heard other storytellers tell their tales, and they're fun, but to add a different twist to it has been very, very fun. So I really like the action fantasy genre.
That's awesome. Cool. So give us a little bit of overview of like what this series, what it has.
Yeah. So the immortal vampire Thaddeus has been shown a prophecy that foretells of the end of all of time and space, which is basically his fault because he was sent to destroy mankind and chose not to. He did that horrible thing and found this pure soul and fell in love. And because of that, he realized he couldn't exist without that. And over 9 lifetimes, his purpose has been to find this love and experience the relationship again. But because he didn't do his job, the new immortal, the jewel dragon, is sent to destroy not just mankind so it can then come back and improve upon itself, but rather all of time and space as punishment to vampire for not doing what he was supposed to do. And then that way, his love will never return. And lesson learned, or maybe not. That'll happen. So he has to gather all of the magical weapons and the players that he believes are mentioned in this prophecy to be able to stop the jewel dragon and save mankind, time and space, and his love. So it goes through time. It goes through multiple dimensions. It's been a very, very fun ride. And even now, as I'm finishing this last edit of the last book, I'm just like bawling my eyes out because it's like, these are my people, man. I was like, I'm here for them. It's been great. It's been really wonderful.
That's got to be hard, just pouring all that into it and seeing everything come to be. Now, okay, I have a personal question because so I've always been curious about writers who have like time hopping in their narrative structure. When you're writing this story, are you writing it chronologically and then going in and kind of mixing up those time hoppy chapters, or are you writing it like how the story unfolds, like we're reading in the book? I'm dying to know.
You know, it's a great question that I had to ask as well, because when I started this, I'm like, how do people do this?
Yeah.
For me, and now I've learned the two terms plotter and pantser.
Yeah,
I'm a
heard those.
Pantser.
Whatever
comes into my mind is what's getting thrown out. And then once that thought is done, it's done for now. And whatever else shows up. And then they find themselves somewhere on a timeline or maybe in the trash. But yeah, I hate the editing, but it has to happen. But the thing is like those people that have the ability to like stop, lay out the story and just go with that, I think it's fantastic. It's very much more time efficient. but from the way my brain works, I don't feel like it would allow me that sense of creativity.
Sure.
The really good thing about that is I have the supportive team that are definitely plotters. And they definitely find those things where it's like, okay, we didn't connect A to B, or C really has nothing to do with anything, and D is just filling space. But it's a cool idea, and they're like, yeah, no, that's got to go. Yeah, that's why in the edit, fortunately, I have the plotters, but my style is definitely that pantsing style, and that's kind of how it started. I was like, it was just random ideas, and then I put them out there and said, this makes sense as a story as long as I move this here and move that there and get rid of this or double that one up, and it became it became what it is now. So
that is so interesting.
Funny question.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I think the past two books that we've covered for the podcast have been time hopping ones, and Jordan and I have just been talking and being like, but how does that, I don't know. And so now we got some insider information here. So thank you.
Yeah. And the thing is like, even now I'm like, it allows me to circle back and do some fun things within the series for the last book. And not to say that it's not intentional. It's not all intentional. But once it works, I'm like, I'm going to use it.
You're like, yeah, so, I did that. Yeah. That's me. For book 4, did you know how book 4 was going to end while you were writing book 1?
So like I said, the first things I wrote were that scene in the Dragon Constellation with monk and vampire sitting there having a lovely dramatic conversation about who you are and who you've been for the past 8 and now this 9th lifetime. And then as I hit the bridge of that song, and I was like, oh no, this is a battle scene. And it was the final battle scene. So I had to get from that to that.
I suppose that kind of helps, like knowing that you've got your endpoint that you want to hit.
Yeah, and I think
how to get there.
At some point you have to know where the story ends. Otherwise you're just babbling. Like you may be babbling with purpose, but at some point you do have to know where the story ends, even if it's in pieces like a series like this, because you have to know that you have to get to that point. And even in the pantsing process, at some point, inevitably you become a plotter because you have to fill in the blanks.
Because you have to, yeah.
And if it's not you, it's the people working with you who are like, no.
So where are you at then with book 4? Have you got the first draft is done? Are you editing yet, or where are you at?
Yeah, it's in the editing process, and like I said, it brings me to tears the whole journey through it, and it just is very special. And like all the little Easter eggs that are hidden in there, very fun. Some of the characters that were originally introduced just for plot and side characters make a cameo, and you're like, oh, where have you been? Yay. And it's kind of charming for me, and to anyone who's a fan of it, that they'll be able to read it and catch all those things. I think it'll be very special. So yeah, it's fun.
I so appreciate, book series that do that. Those little minor characters, but then they kind of pop back up again. I eat that up, so I love that. Good job.
Thanks. Yeah, it's fun. The whole series for me started, I was originally writing this trilogy. Well, I was writing a story, which then I was able to break up into a trilogy, because I'm like, this is way too much for one. But then before we actually published the Dragon Constellation, I was encouraged to write, which I expected to do after, but I was encouraged to write prequel stories. So I wrote a prequel story for each of the 10 main characters, short stories, and we compiled them into the Ambassador Chronicles. So it's the 10 short prequel stories that take place over 43 years and end right as the Dragon Constellation starts, which is book 1 of the trilogy. So that was kind of fun, because that's also allowed me to sort of open up the characters and their arcs and their relationships and their histories to allow for just a stronger story overall and better character development. So I think I would offer to any writer, especially when you're world building in action fantasy, like really sit down and give yourself the time to go back and give your character a prequel story. Even if you don't do anything with it, just hold that and know that that's where they came from. It's really important.
And then you have that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you recommend, in your reading order, start with the prequel or start with book 1?
So I would recommend starting with the prequels, because then they're short stories and people can kind of understand who each character is, and then sort of identify yourself, the reader, as who you want to be through the rest of the story. And then that way, once you get into book 1, you're already familiar, and then you start to find stuff, so it's more exciting. But for anyone who's like, let me just get started with the trilogy and book 1 of the trilogy with the Dragon Constellation, totally fine. You will be able to follow the series without any background. And then at that point, once you complete the series, you might be like, hey, let me go back and check this one out and see what happened, how we got there. Like, who was this? And then you're back to that. But it also depends on what you're looking for. Some people just want that huge, epic, long story. Well, I got 3 books for you. But if you want to start with the short stories, you could do that.
That's nice. You're giving the people the options.
Yeah,
I like that.
You have options.
Okay, talk to us a little bit more about the writing process for you. So we heard you're a pantser. We heard you like the music. Do you have certain areas in your house that are dedicated to writing, or how you get the writing out of your brain into the page?
So I originally was writing at that 3 to 5 in the morning. And then it just kind of evolved that, especially during quarantine back then, it was like, well, what else are you going to do? Yeah. So I just enjoyed doing it throughout the day. And then I got to a point where the world opened up again, and I was back to traveling, which was great. And I love the airport. Talk about inspiration.
Oh, yes. I've seen some of your videos. Yes.
Oh. So at the airport, on a plane, like I am absolutely writing all over the place. And here at home, oftentimes I'll write. We have a nice outside area, and it's Miami Beach. It gets hot, but there's a fan, it's shaded, and I'll sit out there and write a lot. But also every now and then I'm like, there's a Starbucks a couple blocks away, and I can sit in there and just kind of sit like this for a minute and be like, that's a good shirt. I could do something with that, and start typing away on the laptop. But yeah, so I don't really have, and I know when I started this process, there were a lot of people who were like, you need to designate a space. You need to have that writing space. It'll help you to stay focused and all. And I'm like, what if I stay focused different ways and write anyway?
What? Yeah.
So, by not focusing. But it was fun. It's really an enjoyable thing for me to be doing all the time. So.
And that's why we do it, right? Because it's fun.
Yeah.
So tell me more about this team of people that you have here kind of supporting your whole writing process.
So when I started and I had this process moving forward, I met an amazing human being who then immediately said, okay, let's work on this together. And he is my partner, who also is my cover artist. And yes, he does amazing, amazing work. And then we sat down and said, you know what, let's figure out how to get the whole thing done. Because it is intimidating, the publishing world. And then you're looking for an agent, and you're looking for a publisher, and you're sending out query letters, and you're doing all these things. And you're just like, this is not the joy that I started doing this for. But it's the necessary part, because how else are you going to get a book published? So we figured out how to do it, and we created a company that we call Bonfire Books. It's our publishing company, and we've published these 3 so far and some others on the way, and we've really learned a lot. So he wears a lot of hats. He's the president and CEO as well as the cover artist, and does all the art for anything related to the series. And then my editor is a friend who's also a teacher. Yes, her name is Orion, and she's amazing. She comes back when I'm like, you're a great teacher, because there's a lot of red on this page after it gets edited. And she always sends it back with an apology, but it just makes the story better. And I tell them all the time, it's like, I cannot get offended by somebody saying this doesn't work, or this doesn't make sense, or I don't know what you're saying. It just makes the story better. And every time I've reread the stories, I've been like, they're right. And then our web designer, Alex, he's hysterical. He'll just be like, yeah, I'm not sure how to do that. Yeah, I'll figure it out. And he does. So he's designed the website and is able to like hook us up with all the other things that we need when we're doing events, so that we have ways to sell the books and get paid. So that's our team, and it's great. Wow. I appreciate them so much. I say it to them all the time. And they're like, whatever. I'm like, yeah. No.
Like,
we wouldn't be having this conversation without them. We know that for sure. So yeah, it's worth having
That's incredible.
The people in your life.
Yeah, that you can play and work with too. So do you guys take on other authors too, or is it mostly exclusive to what you do?
As of now, we've stuck to me, and we do have some plans and some ideas of things that I'm sure I'm not allowed to talk about yet.
Okay.
So I won't, because he's
good.
And I don't want to get in trouble, but there are definitely some things that we have brewing, and it's really a strong project.
Ooh, well, now I'm excited. Okay. We might have to talk later then when things start to be more public. Okay.
Oh, we'll absolutely do that. Yeah.
Yay. So what is your hot take either on the writing or the publishing or the editing process?
Like I said, I hand it over to the publishing and editing. The writing process, I just love. I love it. And it allows for all of us, Joey, Orion, Alex, myself, all to just be creative with it. Like, there's no limits. I don't limit anyone's thoughts or feedback. And like, no, this is mine. I own it. It's like, I started this is my writing, but then we work as a team to finish the product, and it really works for the best. So I hated the editing part. I hated it. I was so
That's been a common opinion.
And I'm sorry, but it's like, it's art, and you can't censor it, you can't change it. But you know what? If your art isn't as good as it should be, we need this kind of feedback. And I have grown to be able to accept it.
That's got to be hard. Yeah. To take, I feel like I would struggle with that. I poured my heart and soul into something, and I wrote it, and you're telling me that I got to get rid of this part or I got to move it.
Yeah, but like I said before, it's like every time it happens, I'm like, it made it better. So you need other eyes on your stuff, because inevitably the goal is that you have a lot of eyes on your stuff, and you want to make sure that they get it. Otherwise,
for sure. Well, that's why, indie authors they are so awesome. I have so much respect for what you do, because first off, I can't even imagine sitting down and being able to write a whole book. So you got me there. But just being able to take that criticism, take that feedback, and then roll with it. So mad respect.
Well, man, thanks. But, you know, even here, I love the fact that you guys have branched out into talking to indie authors. I mean, you're yapping about what you like and what you don't like in the books and stuff. And that's fantastic, because it gives that, it's basically a free commercial for the book, you know? So the writers must all be like, thanks. And it's engaging and entertaining, but to be on this side and to have these conversations with people who really do appreciate the writing world and books, is like in storytelling, it's really fun for us.
Yeah. Man, this has been a delay. Like, this is so cool. It just kind of came up out of nowhere and we're like, oh, let's give this a go. And the amount of responses we got, unreal. We've got 7 pages worth of people who wanted spots. And I'm like, I'm sorry, we'll do more, I promise. But it's been really cool. I want you to tell the listeners where they can connect with you and find out more about your books.
My website is jamesvoorhees.com, and then I sell everywhere. The books are on Amazon. They're available through all the .coms. Like if you prefer to go to Walmart and get your books, you can go to walmart.com. It's there. My socials, I'm at James Voorhees Author on Instagram and TikTok. And on Facebook, I'm just James Voorhees, my original name. And we do events, which I really like doing because it's a lot of fun to meet people. So the next one we have scheduled right now is in Chicago in September. We'll be doing Printers Row. We did it last year and had such a great time and an amazing turnout, and the crowd was fantastic. So very excited to be back there. And then with each of the books, we've done a launch. So we haven't scheduled anything yet with this one, but we've done Miami, New Jersey, and Sydney, Australia. So it was fun.
Wow.
And so the last one, we'll see what happens. I don't
my
know.
gosh.
Write in. Let me know where everybody wants me to go.
Yeah, where should we party?
We'll have a good book signing there, a book event. It'll be fun.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So, okay, who needs to read your book series?
Everybody. If you like action fantasy, there's a strong romance that sort of starts the whole thing between vampire and monk. If you want to see yourself as a hero, there is a character in the story who you can identify with. If you want to see yourself as a villain, they might be there too. But because sometimes people want that. But it was written for me. I wrote it for my escape, like I said, and I then said this escape is for whomever. But the take-home message for me is that everyone should be able to see themselves as a hero. And you're represented here. So if you're looking to find yourself in the writing and see yourself as part of this quest to save all of time and space and find your own magical powers, then check it out. You'll enjoy the ride.
Yes. All right. So before we go, is there anything else you want to add or anything you want to talk about that we didn't get a chance to talk about yet?
It's just fun to have this conversation. I really enjoy meeting the podcasters who are always so gracious, and you guys have such a fun banter between you. And that's like the characters in this book. Like that's all. I love banter, and it's just fun to hear as I'm like, sometimes I'm running to your podcast. And that throws my pace off too because I start laughing.
There is a lot of laughing,
there. But the banter among these characters in the series is a lot of fun. So it's the action, the fantasy, the battle scenes, but definitely the human interactions that make them realistic characters and people you want to invite over for dinner or drinks.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to us. Yeah, this was lovely. I can't wait to hear more about your secret surprise.
Oh, you will.
Yay. Awesome. Tell us your name and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. Hi, my name's Gaby Knight. I am the author of Mike in the Middle and All in Your Head. I'm a military brat, so I live everywhere, but right now I live in Huntsville, Alabama. I used to be a journalist. I've worked in PR and communications. I've waitressed, and now I write.
That's awesome. You've got just a storied background.
Yeah.
So how does being a journalist compare to being an author?
So I was a print reporter, so it's a little different, obviously, because when you're a journalist, it's like, oh, there's a car crash out on this road, go cover it, or, oh, there's this emergency, go cover it. Like, it's very much in real time. But you also, when there's not the emergencies and there's not the big events, you come up with your own stories and you come up with your own feature story ideas. So, for example, I would write about he was a sergeant in the police force, but he previously worked as a music teacher at the local middle school. Oh. And so I'd get to just go interview the sergeant and then I'd write up like 1,000 words on him. So it was definitely working into feature stories and finding my interests there that it was like, oh, I wonder if I could just write a book, So.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, obviously, as a journalist, you know, your word count is much smaller as opposed to a book, which is a lot,
Yeah,
a lot bigger.
definitely influenced my writing. I still write AP style, and there's nothing funnier than following my editor, where she will be like, "Team Oxford, comma, you need the Oxford comma," and in AP style, you don't use the Oxford comma, and I'm like, I'll read her post, and I'm just that awkward sweating smiley emoji.
Oh, I teach high school English, and one of my classes is a journalism class, and it's so hard for me with that Oxford comma because I want to put it there, and I'm like, wait, no, it doesn't belong. Don't do it.
Yeah.
So what genre do you typically write in for novels?
So I like to write young adult. So my first book is young adult romance. My newest book is young adult murder mystery. But the book I'm currently working on is adult closed door romance. But I'm kind of just, I almost want to put myself as a genre hopper for what I like to write. So
like that. You know what? I think that's smart. I think that's a good way to find out what you're good at, find out what you like, and not get pinned into a corner and stuck doing something and then sort of it lose the magic behind it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like that. Okay. Why don't you tell us about your most recently published book?
Yeah, so All in Your Head is my murder mystery. It's about psychic detective and 7th grader Cass Fairchild questioning her precog abilities after she finds a body in the woods.
Oh, okay. First off, I love a good murder mystery. I love a good YA murder mystery. So, this is right up my alley. How long did it take you to write that book?
So I wrote the first draft for NaNoWriMo 2020, and then I kind of put it on pause because I wanted to publish my first book, Mike in the Middle, because I wrote that for Nano 2019. Awesome. So I put it off. I'm trying to remember the years now. So 2024, I published Mike, and then that summer started rewriting All in Your Head 2. Did my third draft early 2025. Because I can't remember the years now. Got my editor 2025, so yeah, and then I published it last fall 2025. So
okay, wow. So you did it in Nano, which is the month of November, right? Remind me.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell our listeners a little bit about what that is.
Yeah, so NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month. And it takes place in November, where you try to write at least 50,000 words of a novel from November 1st to November 30th.
That's so cool. That has been something that I've always in the back of my mind been like, I should just try that, just do it because who cares? Whatever, no one has to read it. And then I never do.
I remember hearing about it in high school and being like, I can't do that. I'm too busy. I have AP classes. I have sports. I have all this. And then I remember like late summer 2019, I was like, I could probably do NaNoWriMo this year because I had moved to a new paper. They didn't have they had a weekend edition. They didn't have a Monday, so you didn't really have to work the weekends at all, really. It was a lot less stressful. And I remember thinking, like, this would probably be the time to do it. And I was like, I have this book idea. I could probably do it if I already write 1,000 words a day average at my own job.
Right,
so,
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and then you did it. That's so cool. Yeah. I love that.
Thank you.
What do you have either in the works or do you have something coming down the pipeline? What's kind of your vision for the future here?
Yeah, so on the back burner, so the thing I'm currently working on is the second draft of my zookeeper romance started with a sloth. It's about two zookeepers who don't like each other, who have to work together after they've been blamed for a sloth procreating when it's not supposed to. So I'm hoping to get it released next summer, like about this time. So I have that. And then I wrote a first draft for my murder mystery sequel, All in Your Head, set in high school back this winter. And I don't really plan to release that for a few years because I kind of want like my original readers to grow up with Cass and Lenore. So that way they'll be in high school by then. So
yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. I think that's a great vision. That's awesome. So I like too that you've got a couple of different things going at once. How do you keep them all straight? Do they ever blend together?
I don't necessarily keep them all straight, but I just get through, My brain is just organized chaos. So
I relate. Organized chaos. Yeah. That is my life. As a reader, what are some of the genres that you prefer to read?
Gosh, I like writing. I am a genre hopper. I love mystery. I love romance, contemporary, classic lit, literary fiction, basically. Like I'd say I'm some weird mixture of that.
Sure. Yeah. What do you have? I mean, okay, I know this is a dumb question because no one can ever pick their favorite book, but what are maybe some top books that just are going to live forever in your heart?
Forever it has to be the complete Sherlock Holmes. I feel like that is just like I picked up A Study in Scarlet when I was 14, and so I feel like my younger adult soon to adult life that will be within my heart. I love All Creatures Great and Small. That's a great one. That reads like a nonfiction novel. And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. You know,
yes,
I know.
I used to teach that to seniors, and that was so fun. Every time we'd read a chapter where someone new was dead, I'd put like that body outline on the floor. Oh, you're bringing me back. That was a good classic murder mystery. Yes,
that is amazing. Oh my gosh. I wish I was in your class for that. Like, I read it in like summer in college.
Yeah.
And though, even though the book title gives it away, and then there were none. There's something with Agatha Christie where I can't read her. I can't finish her stories at bedtime, because then I can't fall asleep because I'm just gonna be thinking about it the whole night.
I know. You're like, but then they said, and then they said that, but then remember that. Oh,
yeah.
Yes. And I can't ever get them. I cannot ever get them.
I can't.
She's too good for us. Why don't you talk a little bit about the writing process? Do you have a space that you do it? Do you hold yourself accountable, or is it just you just let it come when it comes?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much organized chaos. I like to write at the kitchen table. My husband and I have an office, but because he's working in there and I want to just like play music without my headphones and talk to myself, I will just sit out in the kitchen and do it. I'm a lot more of like a writer in the early afternoons. In the morning, I'll get up, I'll go to yoga class, or like I'll clean out the cat box, or I'll keep myself busy in the morning, and then the afternoon it's like, okay, sit down, write, play Tay-Tay or Fall Out Boy or something, and write.
Yes.
And then I think for me, something is I have anxiety. Like, I have a generalized anxiety disorder. And so there's this part of me that's like, you have to write. There's just this part of me that's like, okay, yes, you have to write. Now, with the first draft, I will stick to it. I'll be like, okay, it's every day. You got to get this done. You got to get this word count done. Now, second drafts and third drafts, I'm a little bit more loosely where I'm like, okay, I'm just going to write like in a flow state. And if I only work on one chapter today, that's okay. If I only work on like half a chapter today, that's okay. I just have like a general far off publishing deadline. So like, for example, with All in Your Head 2, summer 2024, I was like, okay, I'm going to reread All in Your Head, and then I will start rewriting it. And I kind of just put off rereading All in Your Head until we were on vacation. I remember we went to Seattle and just being like, okay, I have no Wi-Fi, download my own book, reread it. There's nothing to distract me. Yeah, because this flight was like, oh, you only get 10 minutes of free Wi-Fi. So I was like, okay. Right? So I was like, I'll just read this. And then kind of working in the fall to just rewrite the second draft. And then my editor, who I got because I was following her on Instagram, on New Year's Day, I contacted her because she mentioned she had availability in March. And she was like, yeah, I'll put you in for March. And so I was like, okay, get third draft done in the next 2 months, basically. Yeah. Got that done, got that out to her, worked with her for a month or so. Went out to my cover artist who I had work on in the Middle, basically, for the summer. Edits in March. My brain's jumping back the tracks. In January, after I finished my second draft, went to a few of my friends, went, hey, can you beta read this? And again, took that into account when I wrote my third draft, edited it with my editor. And then, early summer, got with my cover artist to do that after I had formatted in late spring, early June, my book. Because that is the thing. You want to edit your book and have it ready to go for your cover author, because they're going to do it by the page size and how many pages you actually have. Because I learned the hard way with Mike in the Middle, which was that I thought I had it edited right. And then it turns out I accidentally made it seem bigger than it actually was in the 6x9 book. So there were a few times I had to go back and be like, hi, Julia, I messed up. Can you redo the size? I will pay for it, So I want to make sure absolutely this time when I came to Julia, I was like, it's exactly this many pages, as this, as that for her. And then basically, I think by August, announced All in Your Head, then got my proofs in from Amazon, went through them one more time with myself and my husband to make sure I didn't have any stray errors or anything, basically. And so then I had it ready by the last 2 weeks of September. And then I kind of panicked a little bit, being like, well, is this a plot hole technically? Is that a plot hole technically? But by that point, it's like, okay, it's ready. It's good.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is so fascinating. Yeah. I mean, as someone who's not in the writing process at all, that is all just super interesting. I had no idea about the size, the formatting would have anything to do with the cover art. But like you said, that makes sense. Yeah. You got to have your dimensions, right?
Yeah.
And how, man, so you just said you used Instagram to kind of find editor cover artists. How did people used to do this before Instagram? My gosh.
Published Mike in the Middle. I didn't even think about doing a bookstagram first. How I even got my first steps was I liked this YA fantasy author named Bethany Atazeta on YouTube. And she had this whole video series about how to publish her book. And so what I first did was actually found like my first editor and my cover artist on Fiverr, first and foremost, with Mike in the middle. And then again, learned to do the production there. And then it was just when All in Your Head came about. The funny thing is with the people I follow, I don't remember how I followed them, if it was just through like a follow train or if they followed me and I followed back, or if I was just like, I need to gain new followers. So I just started randomly following people with book in the title. And so I was just kind of feeling like, I love and I appreciate my first editor, but I was like, I think I want to go with someone else maybe for this book. And I just really liked my editor and what she was posting. So,
yeah, you got to find someone you vibe with for sure. So what made you to decide to go the self-publishing route versus like traditional publishing?
Right. So Mike in the Middle, my first book, it is a YA romance drama about two best friends who make a pact that the one thing that will ruin their friendship is if one of them dates a guy better suited for the other. Enter said guy. And the book is a little bit based on my college friends, but I just I knew how I wanted it to end. And I know with the publishing, like Triad Publishing, they like, you have to take what your editor says.
Yep.
And I didn't want to change certain like elements of the story that I don't really want to get into spoiler territory, but I didn't want to, they're like the ending, I did not want to change. And I know they may have wanted to change that. And so I was like, I tried a few places where you could send your books without an agent, and then I tried for a few agents, but after I didn't get it, it was like, it's okay. I think this could make, a good self-publish.
I like that. Yeah. I was talking with a couple other authors as well, and just, I feel like the stigma is starting to break against like, oh, you're not traditionally published, so your book must be crap. I think that's starting to go out the window, which is so good because there are so many good indie author books out there. You don't have to just be a traditionally published author to have a really, really good book. And some of those indie author books can do those kind of trope bending things. They don't have to always follow the format of, the genre. So I think that's really beautiful.
Same. Yeah, no, my goal this year has been to read a trad book, then read an indie book, read a trad book, then read an indie book. And it's just like, I've read so many different things because I've gotten some books through book giveaways to just supporting someone by buying their book for 99 cents on Amazon Kindle. Yeah. It's like, this is good. This is good. I really love this, So.
That's smart. I like that. Yeah. The little every other. That's smart. Just, we got to support the young ones out, the small ones, the small fish. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So what is your hot take either on the writing or the publishing or the editing process?
Okay, so the best hot take I could think of is, regardless of, I think maybe leaning more towards trad, maybe a little bit indie too, is I think a lot of people now are kind of leaning toward this fast fashion of publishing where it's not about the story itself, it's how many tropes they can fit in.
Yeah, I feel like that.
I feel like I'll read it like a romance book and it's like, oh, their age gap, grumpy sunshine, he has a nickname for her, there's one bed, forced proximity, enemies to lovers, friends to lovers, he's her brother's best friend. Like, it's like every single trope you can shoehorn in there, and it's like, it doesn't really fit. Like, it feels like they're writing the story around the tropes and not having the tropes help tell the story.
Yeah. So. Yes, good hot take. I like that.
Thank you.
Who needs to read your book?
I would say anyone who loves young adults with All in Your Head, especially anyone who's looking for a story about mental health. It's Mental Health Awareness Month. I know this will be published after May, but anyone who's looking for a good story about mental health, trying to fit in, anyone who loves mysteries, for sure.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. Where can listeners connect with you?
Right. So I am on Instagram at Gaby Knight Author, Gaby, Gaby, Knight, Knight. So yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else that I didn't ask that you want to chat about?
Oh my gosh, I feel like head empty. I just really love writing. I love reading. And I think we should all support indie authors, even if it's not me.
What are some other ways that people can support indie authors?
Definitely, if you want to find indie authors, there's I've seen like a lot of book festivals in these small towns or maybe these big cities coming up, and they host a lot of indie authors. I think it'd be good to go out and meet those. Again, if you want to connect with people on Instagram, the funniest thing is you will find most authors will have like their first name, last name, author, or they'll have author first. A good way too is not just liking their posts. If you've read their books, make sure to leave a review because reviews get you seen. If you just want to save their books for want to read on Goodreads, that is also helps get visibility. So
sure, like marking them there. Yeah, that's an easy to do. Good. Those are good tips. Where do you typically find your inspiration for your books, your characters, your plots?
Typically, I'd say life in general. I remember on your head specifically, I went to the library just to calm down like during a lunch break and just getting the idea of this girl who can see these monsters coming. And she tells her best friend, and her best friend also believes her, but it's spoiler instead. So, and that was a little partially taken from life. Mike in the Middle was, again, kind of inspired by something that happened with my college friends. Started with a sloth, was just like someone and I goofing off on Bookstagram because we were like, you never see a book cover with sloths. And then it became like, okay, but what if there was,
you know, if we did it for real?
Right. It was like, what if there's a real book with a sloth? And then the funny thing too, zoos won't tell you, is that they get a lot of accidental pregnancies. Which I know that's like the infamous trope is accidental pregnancy, but it's what if it's an accidental animal pregnancy?
Sloth. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. Yep, you're taking it, turning it on its head. Like, who would have even thought? Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and like I used to work at a zoo, not as a zookeeper. Like I worked in PR and social media.
Got it. Okay, I was gonna. I was like, that seems like a very specific setting and story, but that makes sense. You got like a little background in there, so you can draw from that. That's so interesting. I love that.
Thank you.
What would you say the hardest part of writing is?
Oh, I would say it's when you're sitting at your computer and you can't type, and maybe it's because you have writer's block, or maybe you have imposter syndrome going on, or you're like looking at your words and you're like, this is crap and I can't fix it. I'd say it's the hardest part.
How do you, when you get writer's block, what do you do to get yourself out of that funk?
So I just try to do something mindful instead. So like, okay, close my Google Doc, go open up Myrtle and play the Daily Myrtle or the Daily Junior Myrtle, or take my dog on a walk or something else to get my mind off it. So that way my mind can be kind of fresh or get a new perspective.
Sure. Just, totally. Just take some time away from it. Go do something. Something else. That's smart. Instead of just like ruminate on it, being like, why can I not? You know?
Right. Because then I'm going to ruminate on it, and I'm going to go open up Instagram, and I'm going to scroll, and then I'm going to feel bad for myself because there's other indie authors and people going about like, oh, here's this book, here's that amazing book, and it's like, it's not going to help you.
Smart. That is, oh man, yes, that is very sage advice right there. For any reason, anyone's stuck with anything. Yes, the Instagram, the social media is not going to fix it. Oh my gosh, I got sucked in last night. What did I check? I wanted to make sure my alarm was turned off for today because, you know, obviously Memorial Day, no work. And I was about to do that, but then I got like one notification, and then 20 minutes later, I was like, wait, what? No, that is not why I picked up this phone.
Like I was reading Matt Haig's, it's like a memoir called Reasons to Stay Alive, and he talks about his depression and working through that. And one of the things he talks about himself with new goals is make sure if you go on social media, you have a purpose for being on there. And so that's kind of been rent free in my head for a month and a half now. So it's like, okay, do I have a purpose for scrolling?
That is smart. Yes. Because then you have a reason and also like an end goal. Okay, I did the thing. Now I can put it down. That's smart. I like that. I'm going to start using that. Yeah. What is something you wish you would have known at the beginning of the writing or the publishing process?
Good question.
I know. I just thought of it today too, so I didn't even get to get you the preview.
Something I wish I knew. I knew rejection was going to be a big part of the game. I think I'd want to know maybe more about just publishing in general, like doing advanced reader copies, doing beta reads. I think that definitely could have helped my first book, Mike in the Middle. I think that's what I'm going to have to go with for now. Like something I wish I knew, because I just was like, okay, I'm going to write this book. And then I was like, okay, maybe this could be published. And then again, I just kind of sent it after a third draft again to places where you could send them unagented without, you know, much self-revision or stuff. So
sure.
Yeah.
All right. That's good advice. Well, those are all my deep burning questions. Is there anything else you want to chat about or you want to add or bring up?
So I listened to y'all's podcast for the women the other day. And I agree. I think it was you who said that, like, again, this book felt like they were trying to manipulate me emotionally. Agreed. One point I also want to add was that for me, like, I'm Catholic. I was raised Catholic. And something that bothered me about this book was that Frankie was raised Catholic, and then she, like, no one ever brought up, okay, I guess I should go back. She's mind blown by, you know, Rye telling her women can be heroes, as if no one in her whole Catholic life has ever brought up Joan of Arc. Like, the woman, the young girl who was called by God to go fight in the French army, and no one acknowledges it. And honestly, I just really wish someone would have just acknowledged Joan of Arc and then maybe said, oh, well, you know, we're traditional Catholics and she's like, if they just had some bare acknowledgement, I probably would have liked it more. But again,
yes.
Yeah.
See, okay, I had a similar. Did you ever read Lessons in Chemistry?
No, my mom read that one and she does not like it.
Okay, it's a good story, but she goes off on like religion, and I'm Catholic too. Jordan and I are both, and she just destroys it. I was like, oh, I feel like there is some unresolved something happening here, because wow, that, like, to me, that did not need to be in there. That took away from the overall plot, and it just it seemed weird.
Like I know my mom didn't appreciate that either, from what my mom ranted to me about the book.
Yes, like it was a very just passionate, like, rah! And out of nowhere, kind of like, so I feel that. Cool. Well, thank you so much for doing this. This is so lovely. It was great talking to you and learning about your writing process and your books. And I'm excited to take a look at the next one coming out.
Great. Thank you so much, Leah, for having me.
Go ahead and introduce yourself to us and let us know where you're from.
Hello, everyone. I'm Claudia. I'm an indie romance author, and I'm living near Ottawa, Canada, but I'm originally from Germany.
That's awesome. So how long have you lived in Canada for?
And now 5 years.
And what made you make the switch from Germany to Canada?
My husband bring that in vacation, and I moved away. First, it was easier for me to live than for him to move.
Sure, that makes sense. Okay, so why don't you tell us a little bit about what genre you typically write in?
I'm writing romance. Writing romance. I'm going to switch. I'm now married. Now I'm writing romance.
There you go. Funny how life does that. So tell us about your most recently published book. What is it about?
So my recently published book is Under the Water Part 2. It's a romance series about two paramedics in a rescue team. It's also has humor, it has emotional depth, but it's a love story. It's also about friendship, about trust. In a helicopter rescue team, you have to be brave.
Yes.
So the rescue mission is also a big part of the book.
Sure. So what made you decide to write a paramedic romance? Have you experienced being a paramedic, or you just wanted to pick that?
No, it's a funny story. It's a bit figuring out what to do with my life. I don't, but an old German TV series, what was one of my favorite series when I was a teenager, came to my mind, and it was about the rescue team. This gave me the inspiration for my book.
No, that's awesome. I love when people are able to, pull from real life experiences and weave that into their own writing and their own stories.
Yes, so I kind of took this story as a basic, but all the characters I kind of knew the basic of the original characters, but I made my own stories up.
I like that too, yes, because then it's not, someone can't come at you and be like, hey, did you write that character about me? So are you working on any other books currently, or do you have any other books published besides the one?
I have a lot of other books published, thriller, short stories. They're all in German. So Under the Water is my first English. I'm working on parts of the series.
Okay. When you read, what are some of the genres that you prefer to read in?
I also like to read romance, also for my basics. So still I like to read thrillers. So it's different, I think, thrillers and romance, but sometimes you feel more like a thriller, and sometimes you feel like just a nice story and don't want to, see the problems of the world. I think the romance is good for that.
Yes, for sure. Just getting an escape and getting a chance to just take a breath from all the crazy that's happening. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Exactly. Thriller brings you more craziness. So sometimes you just need something. You don't want to know about all the problems. Enough problems in the world.
100% agreed. Yep. So I'm curious now, when you read, do you read mostly in German or English?
I'm mostly now in English, as I'm now living in Canada, so I go often to a bookstore. For sure, there's much German books here. So I still read some German books on my Kindle, but the most I'm now really in English. Just when I really want to read some special German books, I read them in German.
There you go. And then now for the writing process, are you writing mostly in German and then translating to English, or writing directly in English to start?
I write in German because it's my native language, so it still feels easier for me to write in German and then translate it into English.
That makes sense to me. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe one day I will write in French.
Oh, yeah. Just mix it up, whatever.
No, I don't know, but it's really difficult.
Yeah. So is there a lot of French speakers in your region of Canada?
Yes, and my husband is French Canadian, so also where I'm living, it's, I would say, half and half maybe. So many people that see my book and say, oh, in French, so I'm like, sorry, my French is not good enough.
Like, I don't know. Oh my gosh, yeah, that would be a lot to have to hold and keep in mind and keep track of. Yikes.
Yeah, 3 language, I think that's too much.
Yeah. So, all right, tell us a little bit more about your writing process. Where do you get your ideas from? Do you sit down and write, for 8 hours during the day? What does your writing situation look like?
I can definitely not write for 8 hours.
I can't either.
So, yeah, where I get my inspiration from, I think, from totally different things. As I said, TV, sometimes just something comes to me in nature, sometimes comes something to me in buzzwords. Some to me when I'm the type when I get it right down, I cannot get it out of my head. When something comes to me, like before I go to bed, I cannot sleep. Otherwise, that's just sleep for me.
Yeah.
I mostly have my writing types in the morning, then in the afternoon, but I don't have enough to write 1,000 words today or so, because it would put me under pressure, and under pressure I don't have any creativity. So sometimes I also just write scenes, not even in the order, because I'm not feeling at the moment like writing in the order because nothing comes to my mind, but then the scene comes to my mind 100 pages later, but then I just down and collecting everything.
I like that. Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to write under pressure either. Oh, you have to get 1,000 words today, or you have to finish this chapter today. I'd be like, and shut down. So I totally relate to that. Do you have a favorite spot to write? Do you have a special writing room in your house, or are you someone who likes to go to coffee shops and write?
I think I couldn't either do that in coffee shops because then I have all the voices. And then I could not concentrate. I would be like, what's going on? So I mostly writing on my desk in our living room because I don't have my own office in our house. Very rarely. I sometimes write outside. So when it's nice weather, then sometimes I like to write outside. But this is on my desk. That's where my computer stands, and there's my writing room.
Yep. I'm sitting in my basement. I don't have a podcasting room or anything special. I just got a little backdrop I got online.
Yeah, and as my husband is at work in the office anyway, so I'm not at home just with 2 guinea pigs, so they're not so noisy.
Yeah, there you go. So how long did it take you to write your first book?
Well, I take everything with editing 6 months. So I think I wrote it in 2 months. I think it was the quickest book I ever wrote. I think it's just a story what I really had to write. I believe in that. That was the story I had to write, and therefore these really questions flowing out of my hands.
Yeah, you just had to let it come. Yeah.
Yes, it's more now it's start to feel a bit like what I'm writing now, because you always have to create something new. I have a story in my mind, but really the scenes to write at the moment have a bit difficulties, but therefore I'm just writing scenes I like and bring in order later.
Yeah. So how do you keep track of, like, if you write a scene that's kind of out of order, how do you keep all of that in your mind? Do you do an outline before you start reading, or you start writing it all and then eventually just piece it together in the end?
And you write it all and then piece it together. But in this book, did a little outline more like the little story, so that happens in this book. So in general, not every little point. In general, that I want to bring in this book, and then try to put the scenes where they belong. One scene, and this one that last scene is at first, and the scene is somewhere, so that he's not being totally confused when I edited that scene. So what was sequenced and which scene should be there? I think that I would be confused.
Yeah, I would need some type of, I think, method. Otherwise, I just did overwhelmed and shut down. Talk to us about your publishing process, because you are a self-published author. What made you decide to go that route?
So I started as a published also in Germany. So I had a literature agency. I had a publisher company, but just a very small one, where you still have to be marketing and everything.
Mm-hmm.
When I edited this book years ago, I was pretty happy with the editing, what I had to do, because, yeah, for sure, publisher companies have their way to edit things. And this was not really matched to what I would like to edit it. So I took a lot of scenes out, what I normally would not do.
Mm-hmm.
I think as a self-publisher, you're freer what you edit, how your cover looks, which tropes you're writing about, and you don't have to write like, okay, this trope is now in, so you have to write that. I think I'm also, my books not really those general books what everybody reads, like Friends to Lover and something like this. It's not my book has lots of tropes, but it's not very what's the moment in.
Mm-hmm.
So, and also, you're just freer in your writing process and how your book looks when publisher company makes it. Maybe it's not the cover you would prefer, but it's also the time frame. Like, once you get the contract as a publisher company, mostly it takes 1-2 years until your book is published. I think with speed I'm writing, it would be not enough for me to wait 2 years until my book is published. I would have 3 9 and I could not do anything. I think that would really bother me.
That would be hard. Yeah. I feel like being able to have that say in not only your content, but then your timeline too, just not having to be so crunched or put out, like you're in control with that. So I can see why
And
that.
sometimes you might also have times where nothing comes to your mind and you might have a contract and now you have to finish the book and you're like, I can't do that at the moment. When you do it on yourself, you can do it whenever you want.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that would be so stressful just to be pushed in a corner and be like, you have to come up with it now. And you're like, I don't know. I don't have it. Oh,
Yeah.
That would be hard.
You have fun with people you want to work with also, right? When you have a publishing company, yeah, you have to work with those people, and maybe you're not aligned with those people. That can happen too.
True. Mm-hmm. Do you ever get writer's block where you just can't think of what to write?
Yes. So
what do you do? How do you overcome?
Before I started the Under the Water series, I had, I think, 2 years where I didn't write anything because it was just a story. I started books, I put it aside again because everything just didn't feel right. So I don't really have like a plan how to overcome it. I think you could just sit it out for a moment. Maybe it sounds strange, but I think sometimes maybe it's not just the story she should write. So I think it can happen. And I think it's also totally fine, except you have to deliver your household income. That's very important. House always just writing than something. So not this book.
Yeah, just almost like make yourself go through that exercise and just, like train those muscles how to do it again. Wow. Well, this has just been super fascinating talking to you. You have such a cool background and just a unique story and perspective. So I am really excited for listeners to get to know you and your book a little bit better. So yeah, thanks so much.